we've had 3 years of drilling. We've had a fair amount of success. We've been drilling effectively, so we're getting more meters for what we projected, and we're coming in at lower costs. These are all the right things that you want to hear a company doing.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Hey, we're getting a really exciting update from our sponsor, Fury Gold Mines. CEO Tim Clark is with us. SVP of Exploration Brian Atkinson just got results from 3 drill holes on Percival, Maine. Brian, they are quite significant, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. This hole 15 gave us one of the third highest intercept ever on the entire Eau Claire property, and obviously the highest out at Percival. It's on the easternmost end of Percival, which leaves it wide open for next year going forward. Some really good other hits in there going to get washed out by when you start talking about 279 grams gold over 1.5 meters. But there's some other good hits in there too that have 11.5 grams over a meter and a half. We've got 0.86 grams over 48.5 meters. So we're seeing some really broad zones of mineralization, some extremely high grades, and it's all just leading us, to continue to explore out there.
Do you have any indication of what the underlying structure is there? And are you getting close to something really major?
Yeah, we're definitely learning as we go. The geology out there is quite complex. But when we modeled out this year's targeting, it was along a nice plane, and we've been hitting the mineralization along the plane. So it's really well behaved, sort of late structural controls. And as we get our heads wrapped around that, it's going to help with the modeling. So as we go on to next year, when we do the Eau Claire resource update, we'll be putting out a maiden resource here at Percival as well, just to kind of quantify, its overall potential out there.
Right. So Tim, this is basically what you live for here. I realize the market hasn't given any respect yet, but the results here are extraordinary.
Look, everybody's been asking us when our drill results are coming, and here you go. This is it. This is 4 times better than the hole we got last year that sent the stock up 100%. So what's changed? And maybe it's the market, but we've taken 10 holes out of Percival Gold in all of them. We've now not got 1, but 2 really great holes out of it, and it's wide open. And as when you look back at the Eau Claire resource, we're going to do a resource update this year. We focused on the Hinge because we wanted to build that out and get as much into the resource as we could. And but there's still a couple other holes out there which are big reach outs and a couple of these anomalies. We've only reported a third of our drill results this year, and we've got a lot more to go. At the same time, I think investors should keep in mind that Dolly, Hecla just took another 5% of Dolly, and they've been spending a lot of time with their data team. I was up at the camp this summer in August with Phil Baker. They're not buying more because they don't like it, right? They're buying more because they like it a lot. And Shaw's doing a great job, and I see a pathway for that happening. I think what they wanted to get is a little more high grade so they can justify what they're going to be spending in CapEx. And you know what? They're getting it. And they were out on Monday with big news. So, and as far as the investors who are looking at Fury and Dolly Varden, I don't know what you're waiting for, because you've gotten what you've asked for, and we've gotten still more drill holes coming. Plus, we got the resource update, and I think there's other opportunities for Fury on top of that with the joint venture. And we had a great trip out to Beaver Creek this year. We spent a week doing meetings there, as well as Denver Gold, and it was great for us. It was we've got a lot of attention, not only investors, but also on the corporate side, looking at all of our properties. So this is what you hope for. Maybe the market's not there. By the time you decide to get in, this stock could move and you miss. So I just think it's a great time of year to be involved.
When we last spoke, basically, when you deducted the value of Dolly Varden, was $10 million, basically for all of the discoveries that you've made. Now we're down to $8 million, and the picture for Fury has only improved.
Well, it's getting priced like going into bankruptcy, but we've got $45 million in equity in the company. We got $8 million in the treasury. We're probably one of the top three, I have to assume, and I've been told this, finance juniors in the sector. End of story. We're in a great position. We're not going out of business. We got money in the bank. We're excited to see what the drill holes are. We got 5 more holes coming out of Percival, and I'm looking forward to the next year because we've got a nice setup for a lot of positives.
Right. So speaking of next year, Brian, so obviously focus is going to be big on Percival, but I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I had Michael Henriksen on, and we just drilled the Hinge, and he was super excited about that. But now Percival is kind of eclipsing the Hinge, isn't it?
In a sense, yes. But the Hinge has been delivering really well through this year as we've been drilling it, and that's where we're going to see a lot of resource growth at Eau Claire. And it still remains open to depth and out to the west as well. And we've been drilling it back east into the resource this year, doing some infill for that. And it's been delivering some really good results out there as well. So, next year's focus, obviously, we're going to be looking at Percival and out along the Percival trend, where we've got some really exciting anomalies that we were able to follow up on this year. We drilled 2 of them. So we're waiting on those results as well. And then, next year, between Eau Claire, some of the prospects at Percival and along the Percival trend up to Serendipity. And then, as Tim mentioned, out of the joint venture at Eleanor South. So lots of targets. We've been moving things through the pipeline as we're drilling targets. And, all the targets we've been drilling have been giving so far. So it's quite exciting time here at Fury.
Yeah, you've been hitting right and left. Give us a little tease as to the resource update, whatever you could tell us about it. Obviously, it's going to be substantial upgrade.
Well, it's coming out after we get our drill results, so probably sort of the end of the first quarter. I don't know what the number will be. The hope is that we're going to at least show a pathway to get to 1.8 to 2 million ounces, and I don't know the number, so I don't want to hang it out there, but we haven't had an update in 5 years, and we've had 3 years of drilling. We've had a fair amount of success. We've been drilling effectively, so we're getting more meters for what we projected, and we're coming in at lower costs. These are all the right things that you want to hear a company doing, and I think that the real goal here too is Eau Claire, to me, already looks like a resource big enough to where if you add on some discoveries like Percival and maybe even one or two of these anomalies, we've got 30 kilometers of this Canard deformation zone, and we've only touched a part of it. And all these resources and projects and anomalies are all within a kilometer of this Canard deformation zone, and they all have the same geophysical signature and structure and geochem, and it's starting. The bigger companies are going to start paying attention to it at some point. At the same time, what I think is interesting about Fury is we have a lot of optionality, because it's not just about building a resource. It's not about just taking a step at Percival or Anomaly. But we've got a lot more on our plate, where we've got unique relationships with some of these big producers, as well as some big investors that are coming in, and we know we can grow when we need it. But we certainly would like to get some credit near term for what we've done.
Eventually, that's going to come. But the good thing is that while you're anxious for it to come, you want it to come, because that's what you're here for. the fact is, you don't need for it to come tomorrow or next week. You've got a little comfort, like you said, because you're so well capitalized, and the optionality play.
Right. That's look, it's if you're going to buy a junior, I find, I don't know why you wouldn't buy us. I just don't. It's just, we've got a lot of boxes checked, and I think the missing piece was having some high grade discovery, and we got it.
Yeah. And you mentioned that previously a couple of times. You're looking for the high grade. Here it is. We got it. Hey, not to mention gold, $2,000, just a hair's breadth under 2,000 right now. So that's probably going to add to the mix as well.
Well, I think it's going to create some consolidation next year, and we're a hair within. I think rates coming down. If rates come down, gold's going to bust through that 2,000 without even blinking. So, and then it'll flow right downstream from the big cap to the small cap, and when it comes in in a hurry. So, I hear a lot of guys, like, they want to trade these names and buy them in front of the drill results and sell them after. But you got to remember, the big money is made when you're catching the big flows coming in on a turning point in the macro call. And I think we're close. I think we're very close.
It certainly feels that way. So, Brian, 24, obviously it's going to be a big year, probably bigger than this year because your targets are so much more refined. Doing the same amount of drilling, your emphasis, Percival, Hinge, and where else are we looking at?
Yeah, well, right now we're still trying to put it all together. We're waiting on, as Tim mentioned, 2/3 of our drill results from this year, but definitely Eau Claire, but away from the Hinge, looking at other areas. We've made a big substantial increase to the resource footprint at the Hinge. Is there somewhere else around Eau Claire where we can make as big as an impact? We think so with the Gap Zone and the East Extension. So we want to be targeting those. We've got Percival. We did some geochemistry along the Canard Deformation Zone out to the east in our Lac Clarke property. Plus, we've got 13 other anomalies that along the Percival Trend itself, and up at Serendipity, where we did some additional geochem this year as well. So once all those results sort of filter in and everything, we're looking at another good year for sure in 24.
And don't forget the joint venture, because we wanted to go there this year, but we definitely want to go back next year.
All right. So at some point, I'm going to be talking to you, Tim, and everything will have played out that was going to be playing out here, and you're going to have a different.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting times. I really believe it.
Yeah. Hey, and the company's moving ahead. How many other companies out there are literally on care and maintenance? You continue to drill, continue to find metal, and intersect new zones of mineralization. Got to be exciting.
Okay. Thanks, Kerry.
All right. So, hey, go over to furygoldmines.com, sign up for notifications. You'll get the latest drill results like we just got here. And, of course, the ticker symbol in New York on the New York American, and the TSX is Fury, Fury. Gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. We'll be touching base with you again shortly, I'm quite sure.
Thanks, Kerry. Take care.
Thanks very much, Kerry.
The Financial Survival Network.